Well, good morning and welcome to day 69 in our journey through the Word. Excuse me, that's a tough way to get started, and it is an early morning here. It is quiet around my house. Everybody is still asleep. Our son is home from college today, and we're excited to have him home. Unfortunately, we have to work, but it was good to have him show up last night as he's enjoying his spring break this week. Uh, Have you ever opened the instructions to begin assembling something and the instructions just don't make sense? I know I have. I know I'm the kind of person who'd rather look at the pictures and just figure it out myself, and to sit and read the the words of do this step and do this step and do this step. Uh, yeah, it just frustrates me at times. Uh, but I've learned that I've got to follow the instructions. I love the part at the beginning that says these tools are required for assembly. They're not suggested, they are required. I can try to do it without them, but it's a whole lot easier when I have to use the right tools in the job that I'm trying to accomplish. We can't do the same thing with God's instructions. We can't decide to try to follow God's plan using our own tools, doing it our own way, following the pictures and not reading and understanding the complete instructions. When we try, we fail. Like Moses kneeling before the burning bush, we begin to get instructions and we know that we are not equipped. We don't have the tools needed to do the job. But like Moses, we have to trust God. And God always equips us for the journey, for the mission in which He has called us to. He gives us the tools we need to do the job that is required. Look how God brought Moses from the please send somebody else attitude to the leader of a whole nation at the edge of the promised land. Sometimes God gives us all the instructions up front, and sometimes He just gives us one page at a time. But either way, we're to follow them and trust Him that in the end we will have completed faithfully the task in which He has given us. In today's reading, we have a historical record of the journey to the promised land. Yes, there's a 40-year detour, and that's because of the sins of the people and their mistrust of God. From the city of Ramesses to the shores of the Jordan near Moab, God provided the tools and the resources the people needed along the journey, even what they needed as they wandered in the wilderness. God was with them, and He provided. Today, the final preparations are beginning to make the crossover and receive what God has faithfully promised. He promised to Abraham hundreds of years before. The instructions from the Lord, as we read today, were, when you cross the Jordan, you must drive out all the people. You must destroy their images and all the shrines in which they built, because those were built to false gods, and there will be no other God before our God. You must take possession of the land and settle it, and you must distribute the land fairly in proportion to the size of the different clans and the different families. But if you fail to drive out the people, and again, here are the instructions from God. If you fail to drive out the people, this is what will happen. Those who remain will be like splinters in your eye and thorns in your side. Ouch. they will harass you. But here's God's strongest warning to us today in following his instructions, in following them completely. And if you fail to drive them out, I will do to you what I had planned to do to them. Follow God's directions completely to the end. We don't want him, I don't want him to do unto me what he had planned on doing to somebody that knows him not, who follows a false God. I have to remember that God has a plan to help me, not to hurt me, to help you, not to hurt you. I must trust him and follow all his instructions completely. If I don't have the tools, that's okay. If he's called me to do it, he will provide the tools I need in order to fulfill his instructions. Great promise from the Lord today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow as we journey through the Word.